Okay, out here on the 70 Monte Carlo, I can breathe in here again. The fans have pulled most of the fumes out of here. What you're looking at is about 4 to 5 coats of, depending on the area of the car, 4 to 5 coats of Metalux GM code 28 Fathom blue. This is a factory color on a 70 GM lineup of cars. This is just a base coat. You'll notice the dull finish. I've got enough blue base coat left to put maybe a couple more coats if I desire after lunch once this flashes off, and I'm gonna go over it with a bright flashlight and make sure there's no light spots around the bottom of the car or in any of the corners or curves or anything like that. When you're painting one of these cars, the area that you really want to pay attention to is not so much you definitely want to pay attention to the bottom. On this car, being a Monte Carlo, from those dots down was painted black, so I'm not too much worried about wasting a lot of paint on the very bottom of this particular car, because it's going to be painted black after I get the car done. You say, well, what kind of black paint are you going to use? Well, I'm actually just going to use probably a Krylon semi-flat. It works just as good as about anything, and easy to touch up, and doesn't take a lot of time. At the bottom of the car, it works out real well, so that's probably what I'm going to use, something like maybe not Krylon, but something similar, maybe a VHT roll bar and chassis paint here at the bottom. So I'm not too much concerned. You can see the lightness down at the very bottom. I'm not concerned about that at all. Where I'm concerned is back here, you don't have any black there to cover up anything, so you want to make sure your wheel wells are covered. And I've noticed, won't ever say who it is or anything, but there's a particular car, comes a local show, it's got a very nice paint job on it. It's pretty decent at the very bottom of the car. It's not a Monte Carlo, so it don't have any chrome, and it's good at the top, but here in the middle it's light all down through this area here. And when the light hits it a certain way, it's got light spots in it. So when you're painting one of these cars, whether it's a Chevelle, Monte Carlo, really any car, a lot of painters will start out at the bottom. And sometimes I do, especially if the bottom has to be painted all the way to the floor. This particular car, it don't, because of the chrome and the black. But a lot of painters, they'll go to the top of the car, then they'll go to the very bottom of the car because they don't want to miss the bottom. But when they're coming back up, they'll get in a hurry and not get enough paint on this area from about the door lock to the bottom curve. And that's a trouble area, especially on the door when it's really curved like that. So be very mindful if you do any painting to make sure you got enough paint on the side of the car. It doesn't hurt even on in between your coats, as you're finishing a coat, to actually throw another coat in that area lightly, another basic coat in that area from there down, just so you know you got enough paint. That's why I say, depending on the area of the car, there's 4 or 5 coats of paint here. So just wanted to do a quick walk around. Again, I'm not a very tall person. I'm about 5'8", so I let air out of the tires, more out of the back to get the roof down. Especially this car had some tall tires on the back we was using for rollers. And just be real mindful about, these corners and edges. The hinges has got a lot of contours. This is the first one I've done with the trunk lid off. So be sure you fan the paint out the same way on the trunk versus the body to make sure there's no discrepancy in the metallic. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how it's coming out. Another thing is you want to be careful about your tape, to make sure you don't have tape hanging out on the body somewhere. And here it looks like we're all good. So that's another thing you want to pay attention to. Make sure a piece of tape or paper hasn't lifted or been blown around by the paint gun. And you start painting over tape or paper, you'll have a light spot or a dull spot, or even just a primer spot in your car, and that won't be good. you'll never get it back right. You'd have to put 3 or 4 more coats just to get it right. So looks all good here. I'm gonna stop and go eat, give this paint time to dry, and we'll come back and we're gonna spray some Southern Polyurethanes Universal Clear Coat. We're going to give it 30 minutes in between coats on that, so it's going to take a while for the clear today, but hopefully the weather holds out. We've had a little cloud cover earlier keeping the temperature down in here. Hopefully the clouds will stay. It's much more pleasant painting when it's not 90 degrees in the shop. So it's about high today, supposed to be about 80, so it will get quite warm in here this afternoon. But that's all for now. I'll do another video when the car is cleared, probably after the owner sees it. Like, share, comment, any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. This is how I paint a car. You may have your own way, you may piece paint, that's fine. This is the way I do it. Again, make sure you have gaps in between these panels so you don't have paint build up and then it flakes off in 2 weeks. So that's all for now.